Hello John. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you around what are HTML attributes. HTML attributes are very important, especially when we are adding some JavaScript functionalities and also some CSS styling to our HTML code. But we are not going to be writing JavaScript code now, or we are not going to be doing any CSS now. I just need to show you how to add this attribute to HTML element. And by doing so, you are going to understand later on when we start CSS or JavaScript why we treated this earlier as possible. To do that, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a new folder here for you, which is a where I will be calling attributes, and click on enter. So I definitely want to open this folder up inside my Visual Studio Code, or you can open it up inside any text editor of your choice. Well, with that done, I'm going to close this off, and then I'm going to create a new file, which I'll be naming index.html. I toggle this to close this up, and I want to bring the document structure of HTML, and I will click on Shift and 1 to do that. That done. Let me change this title this time around, and I will name it attributes. Attributes. Yes, I definitely want to see what I've written inside my HTML code. So let me quickly add a p element. So I'm going to add a p, and then I'm going to type I love coding, and I save. So I want to open up this inside my inside my browser, and I can copy part and go to any of my favorite browser, and I paste it there. I love coding. You can see it here. That's great. I believe you all know how to do all these things I've done, because if you have been following my tutorial from the beginning, you definitely will know what have been written and what I have shown you before. Great. So what are attributes? Let me quickly give you a just short definition of attributes. They are just a snippet of information we can add to our HTML element starting tags. Imagine, I didn't say closing tags now. I said our HTML element starting tags. Inside this p element now, who can show me the starting tags? So the p element starting tag here is this, the first p element starting tag, which doesn't have the backslash. As I mentioned earlier in my last tutorial, the one that contains the backslash are the closing tag. So here now, not in the front of the p, not here, no. Here, after the p, we can give a space and type anything we want. We can give it any attribute we want. Let me start by adding a class attribute. So class, I give it a class, and you can see after I type in class, Visual Studio Code automatically give me an equals to sign and double quote. No, let me add it manually. So after typing the class, I can give it equals to and then double quotes at the front. Here inside this double quote, we can give it anything. I can just give it, let me say, first class. So this is my first class. Yes, and then this whole line of code here is called attributes in HTML, because we added it to a p opening tag, and it's a snippet of information. This is just a snippet of information. We definitely want to use this class to do something later. That's why we added it, even though I know by now you don't know what you want to use it for. And then you have this class, which is a key. This class now is a key. And then what's the value of the key, which is the value which is first class. And then what next do you understand? I added this dash icon. I can remove it and join it together like this, but it's a common convention in HTML to do just this, to add this, so it will look cleaner. So now we added this class attributes. And then we can add another one. We can add an ID to this p element starting tags. We can add an ID attribute, which will be equals to, let me see, first, this one will be Ctrl Z. I did a mistake. I'm going to type in inside here. You can just type in first ID. I know by now what's inside your head is, okay, yeah, I understand now you're adding something inside the opening tag and you're calling it attribute, but what are all these for? So we are definitely going to be using these two, class and ID, when we started CSS and JavaScript later. And you are going to be using it a lot and a lot, a lot. And to be sincere, that's why I use it as my example, because these are the things you will see most of the times we are using instead of using the tags now when we reach CSS and JavaScript. Really? So let me tell you one thing you need to know more about classes. We can add multiple classes to a single element. Now I can give it another classes. I can just give it another class of home. But can we just add another class value? You see now, this is a key value, this is a value to this class. Can we add another key to this, another value to this ID? No. ID is unique. It just only have a single value. It contains only a single value. We cannot add multiple value to it. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying, but I believe when I add another example, let me say now I add another paragraph tag here, and I just add I love HTML. I save, and then I added another class. Add another class, what do you call it? Class attributes, and then I give it a value of home. Yes, this first one is having a value also of home, this first class here, and then this second one is also having a value of home. Yes, we can simply do that in classes, but in ID we cannot just give it the same ID. We cannot just give this one also first ID as I give it inside the first one, which is not. We cannot do that. Believe me or not, this is just one of the simplest examples you can see out there for classes and ID. And then let me tell you one more thing about adding attribute. These are not just the only attribute we have. We also have Boolean attributes, which just contain a simple value. You're definitely going to be seeing something like required later on. Let me see. Required later on when we are dealing with inputs, which won't contain any value. It's just a key, nothing like a value. And you're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of attributes like style, where we can add a inline styling to our HTML elements and stuff. But I don't want to choke your head with many things. Now I just want you to understand what are attributes. And as I mentioned earlier, attributes are just those snippets of information we add to our HTML elements opening tags. HTML element opening tag. I keep on repeating this word because you cannot just, let me so for instance now, instead of adding this class and ID here, you just go and add it here and said, I want to add a class here. And then you can just go ahead and type something here. You are doing rubbish. You are not doing the correct thing. Anybody that sees, any professional that sees your code when you're adding an attribute to a closing tag knows you are definitely learning or you are just joking around. So attributes always come in an opening tag. From here to here, you can see all the attributes here. And then I told you, inside a class attribute, we can have multiple value. Where we have one first value here to be equals to first class, and then the second value here to be equals to home. While an ID, because ID is very unique from the name, identity is very unique. You can add multiple value, you just need to add it one. If you enjoyed this tutorial, kindly like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.